Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect. This is your brother Lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami. And the topic I want to go into in this lesson is how the dead will be raised up. And specifically, what I really want to go into is how, um, you know, through faith, man, we believe that the Lord is going to give brothers spiritual powers in these last days. And we often talk about the the ability to fly, and control the elements and superhuman feats of physical strength or combat, um, healings and things of that nature, man. But one of the things that Yahweh Shai did with his spiritual power was literally raise the dead, bring the dead back to life. And of course we know in the scriptures, man, that when the Lord comes back, the dead will be raised up. Those that died in Yahweh Shai shall rise first. And even certain wicked individuals that died will be raised up for the final judgment as well. Okay, that's all in the scriptures. Okay, but I really want to focus on just pushing the vibration out of believing in the power of Yahweh Shai, you know, and know that the Lord is going to pour out that spirit of power and of might in these last days upon certain brothers, certain believers, man. Okay, to literally raise the dead. You know, recently we've had a couple brothers in the body of Great Millstone who passed away. Passed on to the Father, and they're at rest right now. Our camp, we just, uh, you know, had a brother that passed on, the brother Karab. You know, um, but in spite of that, we all the brothers, um, who were at his funeral, we spoke about the resurrection. Okay, all right. Those of us who spoke at his funeral, we spoke about the resurrection and how that brother's coming back. And so I just want to push that vibration out in this video. Lord willing, is edifying. I just keep it short and brief, man, because you're gonna have a lot more brothers and believers that pass on. You know, you're gonna have certain martyrs in the faith. But hey, man, the Lord is gonna pour out that power, man, and give certain believers the power to raise the dead back up in these last days, man, to show His power. So, yeah, I'm gonna start here with first, not first, John chapter 14, and John 14 and verse 11. It says, "Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I shall do, he shall do also, or shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye ask anything in my name, I will do it." Okay? So, yeah, man, we know that Yahweh Shai spoke to his disciples and let them know, man, the things that, he had accomplished through the power of the Father, such things as healing the sick, casting out demons and, um, walking on water, controlling the weather, multiplying food to feed thousands, okay, and raising the dead, that his disciples will be able to do those same things and greater, man, okay. All right, matter of fact, we have an example in the scriptures of Yahweh Shah raising the dead. Okay, this is this is Matthew chapter 5 verse 35. It says, "While he yet spake, there came from the ruler of the synagogue's house certain which said, Thy daughter is dead. Why troublest thou the master any further?" Okay, because the ruler of the synagogue came to Yahushua. His name was Jairus, and his daughter was sick. Okay, all right, of a deadly disease, and so he went up to Yahushua. I was like, Yahushua, can you come to her and pray over her? That she rise up again. And as Yahushua was on the way, you had the healing of the woman that had the issue of blood. Okay, and as that took place, one of the people who lived with or who was of Jairus's house came and told him, like, hey, don't trouble the master any further. There's no point. You know, your daughter is dead. There ain't nothing we could do about it. You know, and so this is what Yahushua responded with. Right? It says, as soon as Yahushua heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. And he suffered no man to follow him, save Peter and James and John, the brother of James. And he cometh to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and seeth the tumult, and them that wept and wailed greatly. Okay, all right. So they're mourning the passing on of Jairus's daughter, right? All right. It says, and they laughed him to scorn. I'm sorry. And when he was coming, he saith unto them, why make ye this ado and weep? The damsel is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when he had put them all out, he taketh the father and the mother of the damsel and them that were with him, and entereth in where the damsel was lying. Okay, so they laughed him. They laughed at him because they was like, "Man, she's dead. What do you mean she's sleeping?" Okay, right? And so he put them all out because of their lack of faith, right? But only the father and the mother of the damsel, they were allowed to stay. And he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talitha kumai, which is being interpreted, I say unto thee, arise. Okay. All right. It says, and straightway the damsel arose and walked, and she was of the age of 12 years, and they were astonished with a great astonishment. And he charged them straightly that no man should know it, and commanded that something should be given her to eat. Okay. All right. So the Lord raised the dead in that instance, man. She was brought back to life by the spiritual power of Yahushua. Okay. So as Yahushua said in John 14 and 12, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I shall do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. The Lord, as he did in times past, all right, he's going to give the men of the Lord power to raise the dead. We read that in the scriptures with, I believe it was Elisha who rose a woman's son from the dead, if not Elijah. Salakia, if I'm misspeaking, but brothers, should know the story. Okay, all right, and then of course, you have Yahushai, his example. You have in the Gospels, you have many examples of that as well, and then also the disciples and the apostles. Okay, now I'm gonna go to Matthew chapter 27, verse 50. It says, Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, he yielded up the ghost or the spirit. All right, because he was on the cross, and he breathed his last breath, so to speak. Right, he passed. All right, he died. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, or torn in two, from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Which, of course, slept is a metaphor for they were dead, right? But they arose from the dead and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. You heard that? That's powerful, man. That's powerful, man. Yahushua, in that he died. He gave up the ghost, and he performed the miracle of raising the dead. That's powerful, man. Call Allah Yahushua, man. Okay, so death has been conquered by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Yahushua, man. He's overcome. That's why the scriptures say, "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" Okay, because Yahushua overcame death, for the sons of God, for the children of the Most High, man. So we just gotta believe, man. You know, we get, we're gonna see brothers, man, and different believers that passed on in these last days, man. You had the brother Barack Bar who passed away recently, you know, and you had a few brothers. There was a brother in Texas that's passed on, and over the years there's been different brothers that have passed on to the Lord, but they gonna come back. All right, they coming back, man. They gonna have big smiles on their face, man. When we see them, okay. Even before the missiles come, or right as the chariots start pulling up, and even well before that, the Lord's gonna give power, man, in these last days to raise the dead, man. So you're getting ready to see some stuff, man. We're getting ready to see some things. You know, hey, man, we head into time of Jacob's trouble, man. It's gonna be some troublous and trying times. You know, and of course, we feel the suspense in the air, but we can't let the pressure overtake us, man. The Lord's getting ready to do some things in the earth, man, and show Himself, man. Show His might and His arm in the earth, man. All right, so keep the faith and only believe. All right, this is Acts chapter 20, verse 9. It says, "And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep, and as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep and fell down from the third loft and was taken up dead. And Paul went down and fell on him and embracing him said, Trouble not yourselves, for his life is in him. When he therefore was come up again and had broken bread and eaten and talked a long while, even till the breaking of day he departed. And they brought the young man alive and were not a little comforted." Okay, so Paul was preaching in one of the upper chambers of a house, and he had a young man listening, but he was sitting on the window and he fell down from the third floor, you know, boom, landed dead right on the spot, but Paul embraced him, prayed over him, and he came back to life, you know, and that's the one example in the scriptures, man. So we just know, man, that the Lord's gonna do these things, man, you know, and through the power of faith as possible, man. You know, we gonna see the Lord do these same things in the last days, man. So as the Lord told Jairus and his household, you know, not to be afraid but only believe. Hey, we ought to keep the same faith, man. The Lord is going to do miraculous things like this in the latter days. Keep the faith. All right, this is Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 32. It says, "And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and of Barak and of Samson and of Jephthah and of David also and of Samuel and of the prophets who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouth of the lions, or the mouths of the lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection." So there you go, man. Hey, man, the Lord is going to do it again, man. As He did it in times past. Okay? As He did it in times past, the Lord is going to do it again, man. He's going to use the men of the Lord in these last days to do it. Okay? All right, let me see here. Yep. Yep. It was actually Elisha and Elijah. I was wondering. I thought it might have been both of them. But let's get an example, okay, of a woman whose child was raised to life again by a prophet. Okay. All right. This is 1 Kings 17 and 17. It says, "And it came to pass after 3 days, after these things, that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. And she said unto Elijah, What have I to do with thee, O thou man of God? Art thou come to me to call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son?" All right, because people feared the prophets back then. Okay, so when the prophet came up, man, people was like, "Damn, judgment get ready to come on my my ass," you know. All right, that's why that's why my child is sick and dying because I did something and the prophet is here to rebuke me. Right? It says, "And he said unto her, Get me thy son, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft where he abode and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah." That's so beautiful. Oh my God. Call but Shemal Shai. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house, and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman said to Elijah, Now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in thy mouth is truth. Okay? You see that? So the Lord's gonna use his men in these last days to do similar things, man, to do things of this nature. Okay? All right. And it's gonna be all to the praises, honor, and glory of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Bashim Rakakwadash. So, Lord willing, this video was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the elect. Kwame Yasharallah Shalom.